Hello, this is Angi Burns, the owner and publisher of Allen City Lifestyle, and welcome to the Allen City Lifestyle podcast. On our podcast, we celebrate the positive, supportive, and inclusive contributions of local businesses, organizations, and individuals making an impact on our community. We like to celebrate all of the amazing things that are going on in Allen, Fairview, Lucas, and Parker, and share them with our listeners so that you know the best-in-class businesses, the organizations making a difference in our community, and the individuals who are making an impact on our residents here in our area. Hello, and welcome to City Lifestyle with Angi Burns. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We are here with Lorie Burch of the Burch Law Firm here in Plano, and we are going to talk today about the myths behind wills, estate planning, probate, all of the scary things that are really not so scary when you have somebody like Lorie who knows what they're talking about, helping guide the way. We're also going to talk about some developments that she's got going on with her group and whatever else we can think of to talk about today. So
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, always my pleasure.
So introduce yourself for those of you who have not heard our previous podcast with Lorie. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are and your firm.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Lorie Burch, and this year we are celebrating our 20th anniversary of Burch Law, which is focused exclusively on wills, trusts, living wills, powers of attorney, and probate. And that started out as just little old me, but over the last several years, been able to develop an amazing team of people. We're at 14 and growing currently.
Wow.
And so having a lot of fun doing that. My favorite thing to do from day one has always been to help educate people. So I'm happy to be here.
And you're so good at that. As somebody who comes out of the world of education, you have those teachers that are very monotonous and boring and goes in one ear and out the other. And then you have teachers that really engage you and make you laugh and make it fun and interesting. And I feel like you're that kind of teacher for the wills and probate.
One of the marketing people that we've worked with said that you should write everything, and lawyers are really bad at this, you should write everything at a 5th grade level. And when he reviewed all of the blogs that I have written, he said, "Oh, you're good to go." And I thought,
you're like, is that a compliment? Is that, am I really good at my job or am I really not? That's funny.
So I don't know. I'll take the compliment.
20 years.
Yeah.
That is quite an accomplishment.
I know. I color my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also got yourself a present this year.
I did.
Because I happened to be driving down the road the other day on George Bush and I saw Lorie's giant face.
Giant face.
And so you have a billboard now, and we were having conversation earlier. I was going to say congratulations.
See, I told you.
But it's congratulations that you've been in business for 20 years that you can now put your face on a billboard.
Yeah. It's an accomplishment, certainly, I would say. But I was telling you, it's funny that people are like, "Oh, congratulations." And I'm like, nobody just did that for me or bestowed me with a billboard. Like, I pay for that.
Right.
But yeah,
you didn't win a billboard.
I didn't win a billboard, but that'd be super cool. I think
that would be very cool.
I think if you could win a billboard, I think I would win.
I think
a billboard.
so. You're really good at winning things.
No, the thing it comes down to, and I like outside the box marketing, which I know you know, and what other estate planning and probate law firm do you see have a billboard? And the answer is none. And for people who will go extinct in business, they'll think, well, then that's not a good idea. But for me, I'm like, that sounds like a perfect opportunity. I'm going to corner the market on estate planning and probate billboards. And it's right at a stoplight. My stomping grounds, Preston and George Bush, you're going to be driving home and you're going to see that. If you don't have a will, the state of Texas has one for you, and it's going to hit home for people. And we've actually had a lot more response initially than we thought that we would.
Well, you also have put it out there on your socials. We posted it on our socials about, look, Lorie has a billboard.
Yeah, it's
so we're promoting the fact that you have a billboard, which is so silly. But it was funny. I used to, whenever I got out of education, my husband used to tell me to go into real estate. Yeah. And I always said I didn't want to go into real estate because I don't want my face on a billboard. I don't love my face enough to put it on a billboard. Yeah. And now I have a billboard at the event center. Yeah. You have a billboard, and neither of us are realtors.
Here we are.
And there we are. So, well, congratulations on reaching the level of success that you get a billboard.
All right.
But that is it is an accomplishment to be around for as long as you have been, and you do like to win a lot of awards. You're a little competitive.
I like to win them.
Sure. Lorie and I, little inside information. We were in Leadership Plano together, and I think we were probably the two most competitive people in our class. And we like to win things. And
I think, I wouldn't say I'm competitive. Just because I win a lot of stuff doesn't mean I'm competitive. It's just, again,
I'm just really good at everything that I do.
Good. Yeah.
Well, okay.
My sister-in-law once gave me the best compliment. She said, Lorie, you are good at everything except humility.
Well, yeah. You're like, I'll take it.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it. You won an award from us last year.
I did.
You won the Best Ad Design Campaign Award because if you have not paid attention to Lorie's ads in Plano City Lifestyle, she actually pays attention to our themes that we decide each month.
Other people not do that?
Not all of them.
Oh,
I use you as an example.
We do
when I talk to people and I'm talking to them about coming on board with us as an advertiser, I use your ad as my example. I say, look how good Lorie is at every single month. There's a cat involved usually, which is always great.
Actually, I've been talking to Sarah, our marketing coordinator, and I feel like there's too many dogs. So
we need to go back to cats.
I'm like, you owe me a cat. And for the article coming up about kids and pets and all of that, we're not going to have any cats, and I'm very disappointed in that.
We're going to have to fix that.
But yes, we do try to hit the topic.
Yes, yeah. So the topic of the month, if it's food and drink, she can come up with a ad about wills and estate that incorporates food and drink. Kids and pets, that one's kind of an easy.
That's a softball.
Yeah, that's a softball.
Yeah.
But travel, you've been able to incorporate that. That's kind of a softball too. But the style issue, even relating the style issue, relating the home issue, relating every issue that we give you, you guys have come up with a great ad. So which is why they won Best Ad Design Campaign and why we use it every time. I'm like, look at what you can do. You can be super creative, and everybody else is like terrified. Yeah. They're like, that sounds so daunting. And I'm like, you don't have to do it. Wow. But some people are really good at it.
Send them to me. Maybe this is a second side hustle that I could have.
There you go. There you go. Well, tell us.
We should show you the ones that don't make it, that we don't submit to you.
We need a blooper reel.
But you're going to have to sign an NDA for to see some of these. The barbecue one for Dad, that one.
Okay,
a whole other vision.
We need a Lorie Burch blooper reel for Burch Law.
Sometimes we have to be reminded of this segment of the population of Plano this is going out to. Right. And I grew up in Plano, so I know, sometimes it's a little too irreverent. So
it can be, but I grew up in Plano too, and I enjoy that. So so let's dive into the actual topic of why we're here today. Yeah. So you are here to educate our listeners and our viewers about estate planning, wills, and probates, and you have 5 myths that you would like to dispel.
We have more fantastic information coming your way, so stay with us because City Lifestyle with Angi Burns will be right back. At City Lifestyle, we only partner with best-in-class businesses, and a lot of times people will ask me, well, what does that mean? We do a very rigorous vetting process for anyone who is allowed to advertise in our publications. We only partner with people who are 4- and 5-star businesses and who have great reviews with Better Business Bureau, have all of their licenses and certifications up to date. We want to make sure that our readers and listeners are only being recommended businesses who are going to go above and beyond, so you are getting a best-in-class business.
The 5 biggest mistakes that we see, and normally, this could be an hour-long presentation, hours on each one of the 5, but we're going to try and hit these really fast.
Really quick.
We're going to do a countdown because that's fun, right? So number 5 is assuming that things will happen automatically. And there's a lot of areas I can get into on this, but I think the number one thing for Texans to know, and this is specific to Texas, is that if 2 people, a married couple, for example, own a home together and one of them passes away with no will, no trust, no deed, nothing special, they've just bought the house together, it does not automatically go to the surviving spouse.
Really?
And this is, if you like to geek out on legal terms, which who doesn't, it's called joint tenancy or joint tenancy with rights of survivorship. We do not have that in Texas. Do not let anybody else tell you that is not the case. That is the case. It does not automatically, even if you bought it together, even if both names are on the title, it does not automatically.
So what happens in that instance if somebody doesn't have a will?
Well, they would have to do something, and then it's up to the state laws that determine who would get it. So, for example, in Texas, if the person who passed away had kids from a previous marriage, they would actually end up inheriting that half of the house. and then the surviving
so
spouse.
you only own half of your house.
Correct. Yes.
Wow.
Even if you bought it together. So it would have to go through the court system, or it'd have to go through something called heirship. But basically, you're going to need to spend a lot of money, and you need to get an attorney, where if you had spent less money on an attorney to have a plan, you wouldn't be going through that.
Wow. Number 5's already.
Number 5. It's a big one.
Super informational and helpful. All right. So number 4.
Number 4, thinking that you have to have a lot of money or assets in order to have an estate plan, or that you just need a simple will. One of the favorite things that we get a call that says, hey, I've got a simple situation, I just need a simple will. And we know what that's code for, just so you know. What's the cheapest thing you got?
Right.
And here's what I would say, is that do not give a bank, a financial institution, a title company, or the state of Texas the opportunity to complicate your very simple situation. It's off the charts. The other thing is, a lot of people will say, I just need a will, I don't need an estate plan. It's just a category of law.
So what's the difference?
There is no difference. It's a type of estate plan.
Okay.
I mean, a will is a type of estate plan. A power of attorney is a type of estate plan. Me telling you how to set up your bank account is a type of estate plan. It's a plan that has to do with what is something valuable to you. And it doesn't just have to be money or assets. We talk a lot about CYA, cover your assets. But the way I define assets is anything that is unique to you that is worth protecting. So this can be your kids. This can be your reputation. This could be your Barry Manilow collection.
I mean, that's very
Did I
important.
guess correctly?
No.
Yeah, no. So,
now, if you would have said my musical theater cast recording collection or something along those lines, then I would be like, I need that to go to the right person.
You know, I had a client not too long ago who had a really massive comic book collection. And
they can be very valuable.
He wanted everything to go to his mom, but he made different plans for that because he said she would have no idea how valuable this is.
Yeah.
So any sort of plan that you have, whether it's a car, a bank account, a home, it means that something needs to be determined, and you need to make that choice. What's going to happen to it if something happens to you?
Okay. Number 4, rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Let's go on to number 3.
Number 3, somewhat similar to number 4, but that is thinking that you have to be wealthy to use what's called a revocable living trust. Now, there are lots of different types of trusts, and if you have estate tax issues or whatnot, you can do that. But this is not what that's for. One of the things that is shocking to some people is that a will still has to go through a probate court process, a public probate court process. Now, you still get to express all your wishes and what you want, but there's still expense, time delay, and it's a public record. And probate is getting more cumbersome in Texas for a lot of reasons. And I'm going to tell you one reason in particular, because this is important to people who live in the DFW area. How long have you lived here?
40 plus years.
40 plus years. Have you noticed, as I have, in the last 5 to 10 years, there's just a few more people that live here?
A couple, yeah.
Just a handful.
Yeah.
And if more people are living here, what does that also mean? More people are dying here. So in the 20 years that I've had in my practice, not a single probate court has been added to Collin, Denton, Tarrant.
So they're overwhelmed.
Not a single. So there's other reasons why probates become more cumbersome, but that is a really big one, a lot of backlog. So when you create a revocable living trust, which says all the same stuff that a will does, but you connect it to the trust, you still control all your assets, all you want. There's no different tax treatment to it at all. When you pass away, unlike a will that has to go through probate court and there's time and expense in public record, a trust bypasses all of that.
That sounds like it's no-brainer.
It's nothing is a one-size-fits-all, which is a good segue to mistake number 2.
Okay.
But nothing's a one-size-fits-all, but it is, I'll put it to you this way. When we first started out, it was maybe 20% living trust plans, 80% will plans. In the last 5 to 8 years, that's flipped.
Okay.
So a lot more people are either, if they're doing this for the first time, choosing a trust, or if they're coming back to us to have a review, they're upgrading to a trust. It is more work and more upfront expense, but it more than saves itself.
Do you
in
have
time
a
and
will
money.
or a trust, or can you have a will and a trust?
That's a very nuanced question. So for most people, think of it as a will or a trust, but technically it's a will or a will and a trust, because you always have a will with a trust. Typically it's called a pour over will.
Okay.
So if there's something you don't get connected to your trust, the will need to kick in. Let's say it's a bank account. So you're still going to have to go to probate, so we're trying to avoid using that. But it's just in case you forget, because people are very bad at what's called funding their trust, or as I say, connecting the trust. See, there's that 5th grade ability to write. Connecting it, not funding it. So if you don't do that, then things are outside. But the pour over will still makes it more efficient. It distributes everything the same way as the trust says, but we try to avoid ever having to use that will. So technically you want to use a will or a trust, but you want to have a will or a will and a trust.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the myth is, a lot of people think trust and they think millionaires, billionaires, trust fund babies.
It can be a bank account. It can be a home.
But
it's just you don't want it to go
one.
through a probate court process.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So you said it led into number 2. Let's go.
It does.
Number 2.
So number 2 top mistake that people make is thinking that these DIY online services, will kits, or even some of these HR companies that provide these services is better than nothing. Most of the time they are nothing. And sometimes they're worse than nothing. So
because they make it more complicated to undo the problem.
So there's so many reasons why these things are bad. But one of the biggest reasons, and I'd love to tell you it's because the number one reason they're bad is because they don't have the sophisticated, customized, specialized language that I've worked years, decades crafting. And that is true. However, the biggest problem is they're not signed correctly. Look, I can show example after example, probably at least a couple times a month we see this. And when are we finding out that the will wasn't signed properly?
After the person's already passed away.
And that's too late.
And they can't sign
Is
anything.
that too late?
Yes.
It's too late. And there's no close. You can't say, well, this was their intent or this is what they want.
Right.
Either it was signed with the formalities required by Texas or it doesn't work. And so why is it, though, when people put unintended things into their DIY plan, they manage to get it signed correctly? So 2 of the biggest examples I can give you is people presume that when they get married that they become one. And it's sweet. I love it. I married myself. Maybe you had the little sand ceremony where 2 become one, Spice Girl style, right? But Texas still sees you as 2 entities. And so what happens when you're filling out these forms is you just presume everything goes to your spouse. So when it says who gets your stuff, you skip to your kids, you skip to the next in line. And why is it when people do that, they get it signed correctly? So now we have a will where somebody disinherited their spouse.
Oh my goodness.
All the time. The second one that we had where they successfully got their trust signed and successfully got their deed to their trust recorded in the county, they lost their homestead exemption, which if you're in Texas, the homestead exemption is everything.
Big.
It's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
So not only is it often nothing, sometimes it's even worse than nothing.
Wow. That is a big myth to dispel.
Yeah.
All right, so number 1.
Is it hard to believe after the 4 I just went through that there's one
more?
that's
There's
bigger,
one more that's bigger.
than
I know.
all of those?
Yeah, I'm like eagerly waiting.
Are you
with
at the edge? You're not at the
anticipation.
edge of your seat.
I'm
now
at
you're
the
at
edge
the
of my
Thank
seat.
you. Thank you.
And I'm so ready for number 1.
The number 1 mistake that people make when it comes to estate planning and probate is...
Are y'all ready for number 1? Are you at the edge of your seat? Because here we go.
Are you ready for it?
You're ready.
Stay tuned. We will be right back with City Lifestyle with Angi Burns after these short announcements. Thank you for tuning into City Lifestyle with Angi Burns. We are committed to being involved in our community and giving back as much as we can. If you would like us to come out and throw a neighborhood block party for your community, please contact us. We bring out bounce houses, DJs, ice cream trucks, and we would love to get your feedback on our publication and introduce you to our highly qualified and vetted advertising sponsors. We do not sell anything at the events. We just come out, throw a party, and get to know our neighbors so that we know how to best serve our community. So let us know if you would like us to come out to your neighborhood. We typically serve our neighborhood for block parties during the months of May, June, July, and October for trunk or treats. So reach out to us at Angi, ANGI.Burns at citylifestyle.com to book your City Lifestyle block party today.
I feel like I need to do like a drum roll or something.
All
right, here we go.
Let's go. Is waiting. It's waiting. People put this off for whatever reason, whatever excuse. I think most of it's excuses. I've heard what people often think are well-meaning reasons. but this is going to change or that's going to change. Well, that, you might move from your house. So that doesn't mean you don't get a life or a homeowner's insurance policy, right, on your home if you're going to move in 5 years.
Right.
Like you want that every single year in case something happens. And yes, things can change. You can update your plan. You can do that. But meanwhile, clock's ticking and you're only getting closer to needing it. And what is really, really hurtful for us is we'll have people who will come to a seminar, listen to a podcast. They'll even make an appointment. They'll have a consultation and they know it's important in the moment. And then they walk out that door. And if they haven't made the decision yet, let's get this process started. Their mom gets sick and they have to fly out of town, or their air conditioner breaks down and they have to fix that. And meanwhile, life gets in the way, but the priority of this never changes. The necessity of this never changes, but it starts moving to the back burner. And far too often for firms like ours, the next time we hear from them, it's their family and it's too late to do anything.
Yeah.
And so whatever it takes to get people to say, get this done, get it done right, and get it done now. That is the most critical mission that people have. It's a showing of love to their family and loved ones that they cared enough about them and they cared enough about themselves to preserve this final chapter of their story without leaving a mess.
There's already so much that people go through when somebody passes away. You don't want to have to deal with all of the legalities and the T's being crossed and the I's being dotted. And if you can just save your time, your family, the time, the headache, the stress, by going in and just meeting with you and figuring out what's the best plan that I can leave for my family, then you're going to be doing such a service to your family in the long run.
We recently had a client who had to wait for the court process to play out so she could sell her husband's car. And she was so frustrated because she said, I can't see it anymore. I just want to be able to sell this thing. And she's getting very frustrated. And we understand that. But there's not a lot we can do. We got to go through the system because it wasn't set up ahead of time. Like, I just want to be able to sell this car. It's too painful to see it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that's really important with somebody in your field is a level of empathy that you have to have for the people you're dealing with, because you don't deal with people necessarily during the happiest times of their life.
I tell my people, we're not party planners. Nobody wants to call us. Nobody's happy about calling us. Now, a lot of people are relieved and it's very cathartic and they're very happy to have that peace of mind when they're doing the pre-planning, but it's not, nobody wants to have to do this.
Right.
And so everybody that we have at our firm, it is trained and geared and really vetted to come into the door, like not even having to be trained to have that compassion, but they need to come in the door with it to really have that understanding.
A lot of lawyers are seen as, sharks and liars and this and that, and all in it for the money. But if you get into a division of law like yours, the field of estate planning, you have to have a different approach and outlook.
I mean, I'm just telling you the truth, and people can take it or leave it, but and the other thing that to understand about lawyers, particularly ones that do estate planning and probate, is that our job is to be worst case scenario. We have to plan for the worst things happening. So sure, maybe you can rush to the hospital and without a medical power of attorney, they would let you visit your husband. I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, if they do, it's against the law.
Yeah.
But you can come at me all you want. It's usually the trolls on social media. Like, I was able to do that. Like, yes, they're breaking the law or something, or there's
always
a
an
piece of this you're not telling me.
Yeah.
But, there's nothing that that's the most comforting thing. What I tell my team is that it's not like we're selling extended car warranties, which actually they're not a bad idea sometimes, but it's not like that, right? Like everything that we're selling is something that it's a reality everybody's going to face. So even unlike homeowners insurance, which I think is a great parallel, you may never need that.
Right.
But I guarantee you will need this.
Yes.
So why not have it done right and have it right now?
Right. And so if somebody wanted to contact you right now, tell our listeners and viewers
go to
how
the
to
billboard on Presto. The best way to reach us, and it's the best way to find out more information. We're really proud of how much work that we put into our website. The best place to go is burch-law.com. That's BURCH-law.com, or go to CYAlaw.com so you can cover your assets.
I love the punny.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Lorie, for coming with us today and being here and teaching us in this short amount of time such a plethora of information, massive amounts of information that are going to be very helpful for all of us as we plan for the inevitable.
It's coming.
It's coming, if we like it or not. Well, I appreciate you being here and your time, and we will see you next time.
If you are looking for the best place to market your business to our local community, please consider City Lifestyle Publications. I personally own the Allen and Plano territories, but we have over a dozen luxury publications in our area. We are a nationwide brand, so we have over 200 publications across the nation, and we really do value high editorial integrity, beautiful photography, and making sure that your story is told in a respectable and beautiful way. So if you would like to learn more about how to become an advertising partner of City Lifestyle Publications, feel free to reach out to us because we are your ticket in the door to get you face to face with your next client.